When we start to really conceptualize this and think about it, it becomes us. Just like if you've never been to the gym before, it seems very difficult and laborious, but it's worth getting to the results in which you want. But when you've been doing it for a while, it's not even the results that will come a week or a month later. It's the result in the moment in which you want it. And that's how we're meant to live. We're not meant to meditate so I can make it through the day. You're meditating for that moment of meditation. You're engaging in a conversation with someone for that moment of conversation, not to get somewhere. That is the means to the ends, and everything is in that. You don't use that, because when you overlook that, you're always in this anxious feeling, you're never there, you're never there, you're never there, you're never there, you're never there. You're always there. And when you're there, the things that you actually ask for will start to show up. Or the perspectives of it, or the coordination of it, actually see it. And it's kind of actually fun watching processes, because you can't tell a story about something that came to you instantly. But you can tell the story how you started on this day, and 30 days later I lost 60 pounds, or whatever time. But if you just say, I want to lose 30 pounds, and 2 minutes later you lose it, there's no story to tell. So we actually, in the process of learning right now as human beings, the process is the place of learning. Setting forth to get to something that creates the process is an indication that we got there, so the next place comes. So that's why, the name of my book is Enjoy the Ride. When we literally learn to enjoy the ride, enjoy the process, that's where all the education is. Like again, we don't go to the movies and wait to the very end to watch the ending to try to understand what we've even seen. You must watch every part of the movie to understand why the ending was the ending. So most people want to jump ahead and get to where they want, and they become impatient. And I'm not an advocate of patience. I'm like, you should always be where you want to be. You're like, oh, I'm a very patient person. And I'm like, what time value do you hold to patience? I'm patient up to an hour. Well, if someone that's patient up to 10 minutes is arbitrary as the hour. They're just not willing to stay there longer than 10 minutes. So, and again, these are just concepts I'm putting out there, because when you start to utilize your imagination, everything is possible. And then when you actually really absorb it in, you almost get to a point where the acquiring of it isn't necessary, but the paradox is you end up acquiring it because of the experience of it. So just like everything that comes, when something is coming, like in other words, if more money you want in your life, you have to get to the point where you're not even noticing it. Because typically everyone that marked off their successes had seemingly passed by the success in a period of time before they recognized they not just arrived, they went beyond it. Because when you get there, that stride or step was no different than the first one you took. Like I use this analogy a lot, but the first stride that you take at the base of Mount Everest is no different than the one you take at the top. It's no different, other than the psyche. But when you take one step at a time, but if I'm trying to think of the stride up at the top, I'm going to be frozen, I'm not going to be able to move. And this is why seemingly we do not allow ourselves to move in the direction of success. So what happens, our imagination becomes this lofty thing. But when I create an imagination and it generates a feeling and I get into that state, and when I'm present, my impulse might be to go get a cup of coffee. And if I don't think about it and question why a cup of coffee if I'm trying to start a business, and we don't know, you might go get a cup of coffee and you're there with a friend talking about it, and as you're talking about it, someone overheard it that can aid you or direct you in that. And then you start to see the synchronicity. So the imagination creates the platform or the blue line in which the GPS does, but then you come down and experience everything along the way. And that's the magnificence of life. It isn't necessarily getting to the end, or getting to the end of it is part of it, so you don't exclude it. The destination, I say, the journey's better than the destination. And I'm like, no, it's not. The destination and the journey, the destination and the journey itself are one complete kit. You can't make one better than the other. The journey becomes before the, it's previous to the destination, but it's not better. Once you start thinking one's better than the other, then you never get to the fulfillment of it, and then you get tired of it, and you wake up one day, it's like, I never achieved anything other than the running around in the circle.